let's talk about Hoppers. This is the new Pixar animated movie. Um, you know, and this movie has been getting a lot of good reviews, but also I think like most new Pixar original movies, there's a lot of people being overly critical and things like that. I will say I really liked this movie. I thought it was very good. I do have some problems with it, but we'll start with what's good about it. Of course, the animation. I really liked that this movie kind of changed up the Pixar animation. Where yes, it still looks like a Pixar movie, but because the movie is more comedic, there's definitely a choice to make the animals and character designs look a lot more comedic, which I think really works for the movie. Um, so I still think that Pixar needs to really work to change up their animation styles a lot more because we're in an age where everybody else is doing unique and different animation styles, and Pixar is the only one that is making all their movies look almost exactly the same, except for Illumination. But the thing with Illumination is their movies are so basic and boring that they travel internationally really well, so it doesn't really matter how bad they are here. Uh, to us American moviegoers, where like Pixar movies actually have to do a little bit more work. So, just think it would really help them if they did, but they keep choosing not to, and I think it is a flaw. But I also thought this movie was very funny. Not as funny as I thought it was gonna be, but there were definitely a lot of fucking dark jokes that made me laugh my ass off. One and very incredibly dark joke that they actually hold on for a good minute in the movie, and that made me laugh really fucking hard. Uh, the voice acting is really good. I think that's one thing that does not get talked about enough. Pixar movies always have amazing voice acting, and this movie's no different. I laughed quite a bit at a lot of the jokes within this movie, and this one is. Uh, but part of it is the actual voice acting. Pixar movies are really great at their voice acting. So just um, you know, and while I don't think that the environmental message and kind of working to live together as a community message was all that it was truly going for, you can tell about something that I'll talk about in a minute happened to this movie. I still think it worked really good. I also think that this movie is doing a great job of carrying over the themes of the director's previous work, which was We Bare Bears. That show was about three bears living in a community of humans and learning to adapt and be part of that community. And this is a movie about an animals working to be part of a community of humans and to find their own space within it and balance. And I thought that really worked. And I thought this movie actually had some really strong tear jerking moments that actually worked for me. Um, yeah, I will say also I do think that there's a lot. Well, we'll move on. That's say my negatives now. I think some people are saying that this movie seems like just kind of not the most original movie because the Avatar thing of it all. Honestly, I see what you're saying. Like, it's about a creature going into the body of another group of things to, communicate with them better and help them. I get what you're saying, but like, this movie plays out so differently. It's going for a whole different thing. I think it still feels with unique. I think that's just bad criticism. I think what actually makes this movie feel a little weak, to be honest, is that there was reports of this rumor going around. I think it ended up being pretty credible, which is that Disney executives, after Trump won the election, decided to come in here and gut parts of this movie that mentioned climate change. And so, while there is a message of working together as a community and things like that, I think that you can tell that parts of this movie were really reworked to make the movie be a little bit different. Like, I think that the slimy politician at the end of this movie, I guess mild spoiler, I don't think it's that big of a spoiler. It won't ruin the movie. Because this movie isn't so much about, like, the actual plot of it. It's more about the jokes to it. But, be warned, that's a spoiler. That the slimy politician guy actually gets a little bit of a redemption arc. Um, yeah, I don't think that probably would have been in the original script. I don't think the slimy politician person would have. I can only speculate, but it does feel like, that part is so unreal to life that it felt like maybe that was a Disney executive who told him, oh, no, 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 you can't have a slimy politician being the bad guy because the big orange man says, no, no, no. Or, maybe I'm overthinking things, but I could definitely feel points in the movie where they're saying different words, where they probably would have said the environment, or some word that more clearly represents what they were going for, but it was definitely trimmed down. It's not a huge flaw, but it does weigh on the movie. It makes so the message of the movie is kind of ripped out of it a little bit because we're deciding to bow down to this fucking dipshit of a president we have who shouldn't have this much control over our entertainment. Because as if anyone would boycott a Pixar movie because it has the goddamn message of climate change. What is this nonsense? And really, Disney needs to be called out for this behavior in terms of a lot of things they're doing right now. They are censoring a lot of their projects to kind of placate the current administration, and it is a big problem because it actually hurts the artist and gives these people more power than they should ever have. We are in a democracy. We are not in a dictatorship. They're actively working to move us closer to a dictatorship. It is very upsetting. I do like this movie. I thought it had a lot of good things going on, but overall, I think it's a little bit of a mess of a movie that's not my favorite by any means. So let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe.